Hello, and welcome to this session of the Leadership and Management Process to Practice module. In this session, I will provide an overview of the following topics, including different perspectives on management, the role of the manager, the nature of managerial work, and the emergence of the professional manager. As for the learning outcomes, by the end of this session, you should be able to provide a definition for management, explain key management theories, outline the importance of the role of management in business, and apply key management principles in an applicable exercise. Before defining the manager, it is worthwhile to consider the following characteristics that embody the manager and leader. This culminates in distinct differences in both approach and trait relating to the organisational environment. Categorising these expected characteristics show the stark contrast across personal, interpersonal and professional aspects of the working individual. Taking this a step further, we can begin to align these characteristics against hard and soft aspects of work. Hard aspects relate to particular duties and roles to be undertaken to achieve operational, financial and strategic success for the business, whereas soft aspects relate to intangible behaviours and tasks that underpin the vision, aim and culture of the organisation. Now, like any other discipline or phenomenon, our understandings and perspectives of management differ, with there being no single, recognised definition. However, simply put, most organisations regard the role of a manager as someone who accomplishes desired goals, utilising the many resources in an efficient and effective way. This relates somewhat to the various sources of capital, such as physical, financial, human and intellectual. Concerning these differing definitions, however, many scholars primarily attribute management to various aspects of working life and employee responsibility. Drucker has notably identified the manager as someone who is expected to be a dynamic and charismatic individual who keeps the business alive and growing. Bennis, on the other hand, defines management from a duty-based, planning and organisational perspective, which is typical of most management theory. Managers manage, and this is chiefly within parameters of rules, regulations and industry-expected codes of conduct. Furthermore, Hersey and Blanchard describe management as taking leadership qualities to within an organisational setting, dealing with volatile situations. However, thinking more conceptually, we can also regard management as a factor of production, where various elements of the organisation are controlled and organised. These elements include the need or needs of the whole organisation, the resources required, collaborating with middle and senior managers, leading by example, leading and motivating the workforce, strengthening the organisational culture, and responding and interacting with the external stakeholder. As scholars have progressed the notion of management, these have been further streamed into numerous schools of thought. These include management as a science, as politics, as a practice, and towards entity control. These schools of thought represent the perspectives and beliefs of those researching management and what it means to others. So, what is it that managers do? The traditional breakdown of a manager's job is planning, organising, leading and controlling. This describes well enough what happens in bureaucratic organisations, but, as we will soon discover, is less so for more modern ones. If you are new to management, you may wonder what you will do all day. The following is a list of managerial activities that have been collated from a range of sources. These include organising, the designing of processes, procedures and practices for others to follow; analysing, involving investigating things and discovering the various aspects of those things and how they currently fit and work together; evaluating, the assessing of whether people, processes, resources and other things are operating effectively; planning, setting out the steps that individuals and teams need to take to get something done. This includes short-term planning of activities covering days, weeks, months, and long-term planning covering months and years. Furthermore, the financial aspects, arguing for resources, budgeting for those resources and accounting for what has been spent and what has been produced. Motivating, talking to teams and individuals to inspire and motivate them. Monitoring, checking the progress of products and services to ensure targets are met. negotiating, discussions and asserting actions that resolve conflict, agree ways forward, sort out problems and so on. At the heart of successful management are the concepts of effectiveness and efficiency. Firstly, effectiveness. Effectiveness is the degree to which objectives are achieved and the extent to which targeted problems are solved. In contrast to this, efficiency. Effectiveness is determined without reference to cost. Efficiency is the state or quality of being efficient or able to accomplish something with the least waste of time and effort. In the context of a small business, both effectiveness and efficiency are equally important. Effectiveness can be achieved by price, which is affected by production cost, purchase price, usage cost, maintenance cost, upgrade cost and distribution. Quality, on the other hand, is determined by chosen segmentation and compliance requirements, etc. Other factors include time, including productive lead time, information lead time and punctuality. Flexibility, concerning the mix, volume and product range. Stock availability, including lean and just-in-time management. Ecological soundness, concerning the environmental aspects of the business, such as waste produced, and efficiency can be achieved through this productivity and the volume of output to volume of input. You might think that doing all of the things that are part of a manager's job to the best of your ability would guarantee your progression up the career ladder. However, as a result of research by Fred Lufens, 1988, it seems that being an effective manager does not always lead to career success. Successful managers, in terms of promotion, spend most of their time networking, engaging in organisational politics, and least time on staff issues. Effective managers, in terms of getting the job done and fostering good working relationships, spend most of their time communicating with others and dealing with staff issues. Theoretically speaking, a well-known acronym of management processes involves a managerial process known as POLK. This includes reviewing and planning future activities, organising the relevant and required workforce, leading through set tasks in day-to-day or periodic duties, and coordinating activities to reach short, medium, or longer-term goals. Although from a wealthy family, Taylor chose to begin his working life as a factory labourer. He worked his way up to become chief engineer, then a consultant, and later a college professor. He had a profound interest in work and the way it is organised. He advocated the adoption of a number of principles to increase productivity in the workplace, including the use of scientific methods to establish best practices, replacing rule of thumb methods used previously with evidence-based approaches. Also, the reduction of work to a series of predictable tasks and the selection of the best person for the task, something we take for granted today. Taylor recognised that potential recruits have aptitudes and abilities that can be measured. Taylor also recognised that a new recruit was the raw material that a skilled employee could be fashioned from, given the right training. Financial incentives for following procedures and achieving targets was also acknowledged. Taylor introduced the concept of piecework. Instead of being paid a standard wage regardless of output, workers were paid for each piece of work that they completed. This aligned the interests of the owners with those of the workers for the first time. So essentially, the greater the productivity, the greater the take-home pay. A managerial class was created to plan and control work. Workers simply had to follow orders and weren't required to think. Although large projects have been managed one way or another since ancient times, the concept of a manager as we know it is a relatively recent one. It was not until the beginning of the 20th century that business management emerges. There are a number of reasons for this. Industrialisation. The use of wind, water, steam, and eventually electricity made large-scale manufacturing possible. And with this, it grew the need for better organisation of materials, machines and labour. Also, the creation of the joint stock company, which is the separation of ownership and control, which led directly to the creation of professional managers to run businesses on behalf of the owners. Additionally, the increasing size and complexity of organisations. As organisations grew and became more complex, the need for regulation and control became greater. Furthermore, the growth of bureaucracies and hierarchies. Staff at different levels were needed, some at the top, giving strategic direction, others concerned with controlling production, and many others organising activities of different departments. Also, notably the professionalism and management education progression. As more and more management staff were needed, it became necessary to teach management as a topic, to disseminate best practice and instil those important professional values. In The Nature of Managerial Work, Henry Mintzberg, 1973, identified 10 key roles that managers perform, which he divided into 3 conceptual categories. These are informational, interpersonal, and decisional. Firstly, informational includes the role of a monitor to seek out and analyse business-related information, a spokesperson who represents the group to the outside, and a disseminator who shares this information with others inside the organisation. Secondly, interpersonal includes the figurehead, the symbolic representative of the organisation, the leader through communicating with and motivating subordinates and colleagues, and the liaison, making contacts outside the organisation. Lastly, decisional, including the entrepreneur who initiates this change, the disturbance handler who deals with unexpected disruption, and the resource allocator who chooses between competing demands and resources, and the negotiator who resolves points of difference. Mintzberg noted the relentless pace of a manager's work, its fragmented nature, and observed that managers have a preference for face-to-face communication. One of the basic building blocks of Mintzberg's beliefs, and a major driver for this book, is that management is the application of human skills to organisational systems. His much published paper, The Manager's Job, Folklore and Fact, from 1975, exposes the constant pressure managers feel, the push to do too much work, respond too quickly, and deal with interruptions. Henry Fayol was a French mining engineer and director of mines who developed an influential theory of business administration. Fayol himself identified a number of principles that he considered essential to the effective running of a business. The list is as relevant today as when it was written. This includes the division of work towards specialisation, authority and having the power and resources to effectively carry out your work, discipline and the signing of a contract of employment that signifies your agreement to follow company rules and carry out reasonable orders given to you by your line manager, unity of command and reporting to one named person, unity of direction, where each area of activity under the control of one manager with clear goals, subordination of individual interest, whereby individual employees put the well-being of the organisation before their own. Additionally, remuneration. Workers are compensated for their time and effort by fair pay. Centralisation. Attempting to avoid duplication of activities. Scalar chain, with a line of authority from top to the bottom of the organisation, with communications following this line. Order, whereby the systematic arrangement of employees, machine and material is formalised. Equity, whereby all members of the organisation are bound by the same rules. Stability of tenure, when having employment contracts as advantages to both sides of the agreement. Initiative, with the hope that employees who are allowed to originate and carry out plans will exert high levels of effort. And finally, esprit de corps, which intends to promote team spirit. Karl Emil Maximilian, or Max Weber, was a German sociologist, philosopher and political economist. His writings come from a socialist perspective, but nonetheless have been hugely influential in the organisation of work. Weber advocated rules applicable to all, including the division of labour, creating specialists, with employees working in just one area that can gain more experience and be trained to a much higher level than is possible with generalists. A hierarchy of jobs as an authority structure, the recognition of power in an organisation, with the job holders in higher positions having more power. A job holder given significant authority to perform job. And the power given to a position holder should correspond to the requirements of the job, no more, no less. The importance of rationality and scientific method, decision making based on logic and evidence, the impersonality and selection of strategy in people, where a criteria for selection is based on universal principles of fitness for the role given. These classical theories helped to bring order to what had been chaotic workplaces and allowed work to become more effective and efficient. However, many thought that these theories dehumanised the workplace. Taylor's scientific management came in for particular criticism in this respect and has been blamed for the alienation of workers. As a result of these weaknesses in classical theories, new ways of looking at management were developed. One of these was the humanistic approach, in which workers were rightfully regarded as human beings with social needs as well as financial ones. The humanistic approach emphasised the understanding of human behaviour and dealt with needs and attitudes in the workplace. It considered that truly effective control comes from within the individual worker rather than authoritarian control. The Hawthorne studies brought this perspective to the forefront. The humanistic perspective has three subfields. Firstly, the human relations movement. As a result of his observations at Western Electric's Hawthorne works, Elton Mayo concluded that, alongside the formal organisation of an industrial workplace, there is an informal organisational structure that is equally important to its effective running. A social dimension of work. Secondly, the human resources perspective. Abraham Maslow, best known for his hierarchy of needs theory of motivation, believed that given the opportunity, people in the workplace will strive to reach their full potential. Douglas McGregor is best known for his Theory X and Theory Y model. Theory X managers believe individuals are inherently lazy and not fond of their jobs, so they rely heavily on the threat of punishment to gain compliance of employees. Theory Y believe that employees can be ambitious, self-motivated, and exercise self-control, and given the right conditions, most people will want to do well at work. Lastly, the third modern approach, the behavioural sciences approach, which develops theories about human behaviour based on scientific methods and study, which formed the basis of HR selection and development and led to the foundation of organisational development. Many theories have come and gone over the years, but the early theories still guide the expectations for many employees. More up-to-date theories include systems theory, which is the use of automation, computers, and more recently communication technology to develop self-regulating systems, particularly in manufacturing. Total quality management, managing the total organisation to deliver total quality to all customers. The learning organisation, an organisation that facilitates the learning of all of its members and continuously transforms itself. Additionally, the technology-driven workplace, which goes hand in hand with the learning organisation, constantly changing and adapting to gain advantage from technological developments. For successful businesses in the 21st century, the emphasis has shifted to one of being flexible and creative. For them, the ability to recognise and take advantage of new opportunities is more important than efficiency savings gained by the imposition of rigid rules and structured tasks. Organisations such as Amazon, Google, Apple and Microsoft are examples of businesses using this approach. A quote from MIT Sloan states that operations management deals with the design and management of products, processes, services and supply chains. It considers the acquisition, development and utilisation of resources that firms the need to deliver the goods and services their clients want. In other words, operations management relates to the effective and efficient management of resources in the day-to-day running of the business. Operations management is critical to the success of any business. Operations management covers many aspects of a firm, such as physical site factors, production processes, and the evaluation and improvement of performance. It involves the responsibility of ensuring that the normal activities are efficient and effective. Operations revolve around the visible completion and execution of brands, products and services. These can be realised through specialist and multifaceted ranges of products that the company produces. Operations as a process involves combining the social, technological, technical and physical components of an organisation. This is also termed as these physical and social aspects of capital discussed previously. What a company physically does aids in its potentially, over time, establishing a competitive advantage in the marketplace through niche and innovative products, which hold a distinct and added value. The key principles listed are broad, vital and universally known to any organisation. They address the issues of organisational efficiency and effectiveness and highlight core aims and values that should be aspired to. Firstly, in achieving the profit motive, is the organisation making money? Are they successful? How can we measure or compare the success? Additionally, what are their main activities? Are they creative and innovative? Are they producing quality goods and services? And is this at industry and societal expectations? These many questions pose a particular onus on the workforce up and down and across the organisation. As illustrated for this session, and inspired by Dowling and others, I visualise the multi-layered environments, both internal and external, which any given organisation faces. The organisation deals with internal issues and the need for an embracing culture through effective management. Furthermore, as the organisation conducts its business activities, the immediate and national environments are impacted. The marketplace, international push and pull factors, the organisation's ambition, and scope and scale of the organisation determines to which extent it experiences growth and operates further afield. It is when an organisation is fully organised and resourced to its preferred level that it is prepared to operate globally. For digitised, mobile and international organisations in the 21st century, a globalised mindset is vital. Globalisation itself is defined by the World Bank as the global circulation of goods, services and capital, but also of information, ideas and people. It involves meeting and competing in the market on a worldwide scale, or supra-territoriality, a big word, but it simply means an organisation operating in multiple countries, continents and cultural contexts. Many drivers of globalisation include benefiting from the spread of information and taking advantage of technological innovations and advancements. With the opening of markets and expansion of international economies, these advancements are shared more freely. The pooling and sharing of ideas and practices embolden organisations for the good of industry and society in general. With this in mind, organisations should be more focused in a volatile world. An organisation's strategy is a course of action to realise particular objectives over time. As alluded to earlier, the way in which an organisation does things is evidenced by shared values, beliefs and behaviours. Organisations balance their technologies, techniques and the skill sets of its workforce. An organisation's corporate strategy is a more externally viewed strategy aimed at assessing how organisations engage with the outside world. It is the identification of the purpose of the organisation, why it exists, and asserting the plans and actions to achieve that purpose. Organisations must be contingent and proactive, not just reactive to present problems and situations. The following tutorial task is designed to allow students to explore and apply the theory from this session. The task involves reading the Zulu case study and answering the following 4 questions. Question 1. How would you categorise the training and development of managers in this company? Question 2. What are the underlying problems with Zulu computers? Question 3. Why did this problem take so long to recognise and address? And finally, question 4. How would you advise them to proceed in terms of leadership and development?